There are a lot of really fast, small Hall effect keyboards now, but most of them are built around the same idea, kind of following in Wooting's footsteps of performance first, no frills, and a very minimal approach in terms of aesthetics and design. When Hall effect switches were really novel and rare, I think that worked really well. These days, Hall effect switches have become commonplace, and a lot of people want their gaming keyboards to be nicer, whether it be nicer materials, better aesthetics and design, things like that. So that's why I was really excited when XVX sent me the Trooper63 HE. It's a $90 gaming keyboard with rapid trigger, adjustable actuation, everything you want from a Hall effect board, but it also looks like this. XVX built the switches, keycaps, and even the lighting system around this design. So the question for me is, can the Trooper63 HE actually deliver as a gaming keyboard that looks as good as it performs? Let's find out. The big feature here is something XVX calls the Gemini Dual-Lighting system. Normally you're choosing between north or south facing RGB. This has both. Because this is Hall effect, XVX had more freedom with the PCB layout, so they built separate lighting zones above and below each switch. So you can see there's two. These are XVX's Prism Keycaps. They've got this translucent, almost skeletal design. It lets the lighting come through different parts of the keycap instead of just illuminating the legend. On the fully clear one, you can see it kind of has like a cloudy finish, and that lets the light diffuse through it really nicely when the lights are on. It's a really unique design that looks fresh, especially on this pink version. I think it looks really good. The rest of the board kind of follows that same industrial kind of design. It's a 63 key layout, but it has dedicated arrow keys. That's really nice. It's an open frame aluminum chassis. And I'm going to show you something here. It's got a carbon fiber plate. That's really cool. So I'll expose it here a little better. And you can see that plate underneath is carbon fiber. Really nice. It's 673 grams, so it's not really heavy, but the aluminum construction still gives it a pretty substantial feel. As far as the actual build quality, underneath the keycaps are XVX's new Gemini HE magnetic switches. And you can see they've got two diffusers for both lighting zones. They're linear with a pretty light 32 gram initial force and a maximum 45 grams at bottom out. My first impression on the switches, really high quality. There's no side to side wobble. Up and down wobble, very minimal. Key presses are light, feel good on the bottom out. To me, that puts the Trooper63 up a point in my book because typing feel and sound are still areas where a lot of Hall effect keyboards fall behind mechanical boards, and this one actually sounds really good. Here's a quick test to show you what it actually sounds like. In terms of gaming performance, it's excellent. As expected from a Hall effect keyboard, you've got adjustable actuation, rapid trigger down to 0.01mm increments, DKS snap tap, and the usual per key configuration. It's not trying to boast the highest specs, but it hits the sweet spot at 1000 Hz polling. Between 1K and 8K, honestly, there is a difference, but it's hard to perceive. The feature you're actually going to notice more is rapid trigger. That, along with adjustable actuation, are probably the two biggest features that make a difference in gaming. Everything's controlled through XVX's WebDriver, which I'm always happy to see because you don't have to install anything. Like I said earlier, you've got per key actuation, rapid trigger, DKS, snap tap, RGB control, calibration, and onboard profiles. So this is where the Trooper63 starts making sense for me. At 90 bucks, it's not really the cheapest Hall effect board you can buy, and it definitely doesn't have the biggest polling rate numbers or anything like that. But I think what you're paying for here is the combination. You've still got the rapid trigger features, that you need for gaming. It's got an aluminum chassis. It's got that carbon fiber plate. And acoustically, it sounds really good, not just for a Hall effect board, but for a keyboard in general. It's got these awesome Prism Keycaps and that dual lighting system. And visually, there isn't really much else that looks like this. Got a very unique look. So given all that, here are my nitpicks with the Trooper63. First of all, it's wired only, so you will need to be plugged in to use this keyboard. For a gaming keyboard, that's not necessarily a deal breaker, but if you specifically want wireless, then this obviously isn't it. If your only goal is maximum performance per dollar, 1000 Hz polling isn't exactly impressive anymore. Another thing I noticed is that you can see some of the dampening layers through the open aluminum shell. In some places the foam is uneven, and with how polished and intentional the rest of the keyboard looks, that part feels just a little unfinished to me. And then there's the design. It's definitely aggressive. It's got a polarizing design in my opinion. I love it. I feel like you're either gonna love it or hate it. So there's also that. But that's kind of the point of this kind of design, right? I think the Trooper63 is interesting because XVX isn't really trying to win the same spec sheet war everyone else is fighting with these gaming keyboards. Hall effect performance has gotten really cheap. Rapid trigger has gotten really cheap. Even crazy polling rates have gotten cheap. So these days, I'm looking much more at the full implementation rather than just specs. So I'd much rather see companies start asking, what else can we actually do with this tech? And how can we make this stand out amongst the sea of new keyboards coming out every day? I think the Trooper63 is a great answer to that question. If you literally just want the fastest Hall effect keyboard you can find for the best amount of money, there's a ton of good value boards out there. I like what XVX is doing here with the Trooper63. It's not trying to be the cheapest Hall effect board out there. You're still getting all the gaming features that actually matter, but XVX put just as much emphasis on the chassis, keycaps, lighting, the way the keyboard actually feels sitting on your desk, things like that. So coming back to the question I had at the beginning, does it actually deliver as a gaming keyboard that looks as good as it performs? I think yes, because whether you personally like the design or not, it definitely doesn't look like every Hall effect keyboard out there, and I think that's what makes this stand out. If you're interested in getting a Trooper63 HE for yourself, I'll have a link down below. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.